Living with ADHD. For as long as I can remember, I've always had trouble focusing on things. It could be school, it could be at work, or even YouTube. I tend to get distracted really easily. Sometimes it feels like my brain just needs to be doing 5 different things all at the same time, multitasking things that shouldn't be done together. Yet at the same time, I struggle to even wake up and make my bed some mornings. If any of these things relate to you, then there's a small chance that you might be just like me and have ADHD. I'm not a doctor, please don't take my advice. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, often shortened to ADHD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by executive dysfunction and occasioning symptoms of inattention, hyperactivity. Wow, that is a lot of words. There are a bunch of different types of symptoms, and it kind of varies per person. One thing that most people tend to share, though, is the inattention aspect. Some people may always feel like they're under a lot of pressure and get really stressed out easily. Some people may talk excessively, while some others don't talk at all. And like mentioned earlier, other people may get distracted really easily, like me. Now, when most people think ADHD, the first thing that comes to mind is probably a super obnoxious kid who talks a lot, gets distracted easily, and is often very, very disorganized. That's exactly how I was. For as long as I can remember, I've always felt like my brain can never just turn off for a bit and relax. I always need some sort of mental stimulation. An example of this could be me fidgeting with whatever is around me. It could be something as little as fidgeting with an eraser, or to literal garbage on my desk, to even playing with my thumbs. Or when I'm eating food, I need some sort of interaction with something, whether that be me talking to whoever I'm with at the time, or just simply watching YouTube, which I understand isn't just exclusive to me. Like, bro, who eats without YouTube in this day and age? I'm assuming it was very obvious to all of my teachers, my friends, everybody who was around me that I had ADHD. I was just never formally diagnosed until I was 14 years old. Before I was even formally diagnosed with it, I was often thinking that maybe I had something that was wired differently in my brain. One thing I've noticed ever since I was young is it's always been really hard for me to focus on something. I'm going to be completely open and transparent with you. The first 2.5 minutes of this video were recorded the night before, because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't just sit down and focus on what I needed to say. I would have a general outline of what I wanted to say in my mind, but when it actually came time to saying it, I would suddenly get a bunch of different ideas for what else I wanted to say, things I wanted to add on, other things that I wanted to completely just remove. But then eventually, with all of these thoughts running through my mind, I lose track with what I was originally going to talk about. So I sit there and try as hard as I possibly can to remember, but 90% of the time I get lost in my own thoughts, which then leads to me giving up and thinking, no, I'll do it tomorrow, which then leads me down the rabbit hole of doing whatever task needed to be done at 3 in the morning. I often wait last minute to do whatever needs to be done, and although I'm trying to improve it slowly, it still happens every now and then. It was the worst in school, though. If I was told in advance that I had a project due in 3 weeks, every single time I would tell my parents, like the day before it was due, that I needed materials for my project. I remember this one time in the 3rd grade, I had a diorama due, and my teacher gave me 1 month to finish it, and I never ended up telling my parents about it until the night before. By this point, all the stores were already closed, so I had to use whatever was in the house at the time. So the next day, I brought my diorama to school that consisted of an old Nike shoebox and some dried up Play-Doh. I didn't get a good grade on it, by the way. Throughout all 12 years that I ended up going to school, I would often find it very hard to focus on something that I just simply didn't care about. Whenever the teacher would start talking about something I found even remotely disinteresting, I would immediately zone out and just start daydreaming about something, completely blocking out whatever was being said. Except I would do this for every single class, all year. So by the time that tests rolled around, I think it's safe to say that after the test, I was never put into a winning position. And then when report cards would come out, it was almost cartoonishly obvious that I just wouldn't pay attention whatsoever. Now listen, it's not like I find all topics extremely boring. That's not true. There's some things that I would find so interesting, whether that be in school or just my own personal interest. When I learned about dinosaurs back in the 2nd grade, I remember I was so interested in it, and I was was locked in on it. I would go to the library after school and I would rent so many books about the prehistoric period because I just wanted to hyperfixate on it. When I am interested in something, that is all that I will consume or dedicate my life to for the next 12 hours. No matter how hard you try, I promise you, there is almost no way that you will be able to separate me from whatever I'm focused on. It can be a bunch of different things. For example, video editing. Sure, sometimes I do wait till the last minute to edit a video, but when I have my sights set on editing, I am locked in on that until I finish. Sometimes I will go at it for 6 straight hours without taking breaks or eating anything in between, because my brain will just completely ignore all other needs and focus on this one thing that needs to be done. Or some other times I will be building a Lego set and I will be solely focused on that. About a year ago, I bought a Lego set with 4,000 pieces and I finished it in about a day. I was up from the hours of 7 a.m. to about 3 a.m. just working on this one item. I think sometimes there's a common misconception when it comes to ADHD, and that's when you tell somebody that you have it, sometimes their response is, you can't focus or you won't focus. And that is one of those things that are really hard, man, because it's not that I don't want to focus, it's that I literally can't no matter how hard I try sometimes. I know that no matter how much I repeat it, it most likely doesn't make any more sense, but there are so many different thoughts going on in your head all at the same time, and no matter how hard you try and get rid of them on your own, sometimes it just feels nearly impossible. I notice a lot of my friends are able to just sit down and dedicate time to study for their college classes, and they actually do it successfully. Whenever I would try to do that in school, 90% of the time, it would end up with me staring at my notes for 10 minutes, then watching some super obscure YouTube video essay until I completely forgot what I was even supposed to be doing in the first place. It isn't just big tasks that I struggle with, like recording a video or doing work. It's smaller tasks that I know will be done within 5 minutes, like for example, washing the dishes. I know that if I just simply get up and do the dishes, it will not even take that long. It'll be a one and done situation. It's going to end up being done so quick that I won't even have to worry about it for the rest of the day, but sometimes I just can't bring myself to do it because it feels like I'm in this mental trance of some sorts. I think one of the worst parts is that I do end up convincing myself that I am lazy, and even when I finish a large task like editing a video, sometimes I feel like it's not okay for me to relax or to take a little bit of time to unwind because I already spent so much time procrastinating something. I wish it was as simple as just being able to get up and do what needs to be done some days. I really do. I've watched both Jaden Animations and Ice Cream Sandwich's video about this exact same topic, and I don't think I've been able to really connect with any other video so hard before. That struggle to get up and do simple tasks or to work on a YouTube video, that's something that I feel like I can relate to them because they talk about it in their videos. They're content creators and they understand the struggle of being your own boss sometimes and being completely disorganized with what you're doing. And I'm so happy that those two videos exist because they helped me in so many ways. I haven't really seen many other creators talk about having ADHD, so I thought that I would put this video out there and talk about my experience dealing with it and growing up with it. Maybe it can help others in the same way that these videos also helped me. It was also therapeutic for me to write this video and get it out there. If anybody is struggling from ADHD and you're watching this video and you have the same issues as me, I want you to know that you're not alone. Like, it's not just you, it's me too. If even one person can at least relate a little bit to this video, I feel like my job is done. If you haven't already, check out both of these videos on the same topic. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.